What is the Fresnel node? All right, so basically, here I have three different objects, all of them sharing the same material. Actually, let me go ahead and disable the shadows. I will set this to unshaded so we can only focus on the colors. And let me go to the visual shader, to the color section, and I will just right click and create a Fresnel node. So let's see what happened when I connect this into my visual shader color graph. So we get this sort of very nice halo effect. But what is going on here? So if you remember, a 3D object, any 3D object, is composed by multiple small faces. So this sphere, for example, is composed by all these small little squares, faces, but all these faces are pointing into a direction. For example, this face over there is pointing at this direction, and this one is pointing almost basically at you, at the camera. And with the Fresnel node, faces that are pointing directly at you are dark or 0, while tilting away toward the edges gets brighter. So we get a value of 1. And in Godot, the Fresnel node only has 4 input values. We have the normal, which tells the node which way the surface is facing. View, which is basically the camera direction. This little option that we can toggle on and off. So with this we can invert the values of the Fresnel. And this very handy power option. You can manually type any value here, or you can just go ahead and create a float parameter. Let's name this power. And we can use this to control the power directly into the material properties here. And as you can see with the power, we can control the thickness or the intensity of this halo. You can imagine a lot of nice applications for this. For example, glass, water, soft fabric, cloth, holograms. I have some nice examples here, but before that, let me show you one very common application of the Fresnel node, which is like, for example, if you have two things, for example, I can have two colors. Let's say, for example, I have a red color and green color. So I can mix this red and green using the Fresnel node, and I get this very nice thermal view effect. And there are a ton of tricks that you can do with the Fresnel. For example, you can hook up a texture here to control the halo as well with a texture. Let's see, for example, let's grab this texture, and I will take my faces direction and add this texture to the faces direction, and that will control the Fresnel halo. As you can see, now we have this hexagon texture controlling the halo as well. It's very cool. Let me show you some examples here. So I have this soft fabric velvet cloth with this very nice peachy green light that makes this cloth looks realistic. In this case, I am just using a standard material because Godot has a green property here that you can toggle on and off. And with this, you can basically have Fresnel in the material, in the standard material, which is super useful, super handy. And another very common application for this is grass or leaves. So for example, here I have this little tree, and I am using a Fresnel to fake this sort of rim light into those very thin leaves of the tree. Wait, I will turn this off so you can see the big difference that a simple Fresnel node can do. See that? It looks odd, looks ugly, and this is how it would look by default, with no Fresnel, no anything. And as you can see, it looks bad, looks really bad. And it's a shame. I have seen this oversight everywhere, from indie projects to huge AAA games. Developers will spend hours perfecting the rust on a tiny can in the dirt, only to leave their foliage looking like cheap plastic. And the thing is, leaves are so incredibly thin, light actually scatters right through them, especially in sparser areas, and fixing those plastic trees is actually super easy. Just using a Fresnel, which is computationally very cheap, or actually the rim property inside the standard material, or if you don't care too much about performance, you can just enable the default subsurface scattering in Godot. But anyways, let's continue with the examples. This one is a shield, a sci-fi style shield, and here I am using a Fresnel to control multiple things. The Fresnel here is controlling the transparency, so we get that rim effect, and also the emission and the distortion strength. All that is driven by a single Fresnel node. And here I have a 3D aura effect. Well, this is really a single cylinder mesh, but since I am using an inverted Fresnel to control the transparency, it doesn't look like a cylinder. Oh, this is a good one. Here I am using an old school technique where I duplicate the mesh, inflate it, invert the faces, and then I apply almost the same material that I applied here into my aura effect into that inflated copy of the mesh, so I get this outline aura. It reminds me of Dragon Ball.